So that guy I met on eHarmony? Yeah. We're out together last night and I step off a curb and snap, heel breaks right off my shoe.
Oh no.
So I say, hell with it, take them off so I'm barefoot, and you'll never guess.
What?
He leans over, takes off his shoes and socks, and now we're both...
You're joking.
Amazing, right?
At eHarmony, you'll find someone you can be yourself with. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up for eHarmony today.
Finding someone that understands you is hard because you're human, and there's a lot of different humans out there. eHarmony helps you find someone you can be yourself with. You think no one would understand mourning a plant like it's a loved one, or singing made-up songs to your dog, but that's the type of person eHarmony helps you find. Someone who makes you feel seen, heard, and understood. Get started today on eHarmony. Get who gets you.
The correct doses of the correct stressors for the correct amount of time can actually make you stronger, healthier, and more resilient. It's called hormesis. Come learn 4 common hormetic stressors to upgrade the health of your body and how to convert daily life stress from a drain to a powerful asset. You're listening to the Health Courage Collective podcast, episode 132, Stress Yourself on Purpose, originally published March 2nd, 2022. Welcome to the Health Courage Collective podcast, the show for women who are too busy to slog through hours of generalized, inapplicable, and often contradictory health information, but too smart to ignore that a few minutes of focused attention now can prevent years of suffering in the future. I'm your host, Christina Hackett, a pharmacist who doesn't want you to live on prescriptions, a certified coach specifically trained to maximize your potential, and a compulsive learner obsessed with preventative, cutting-edge, holistic, and integrative medicine. I'm on a mission to increase your physical and mental resilience so you can fearlessly look forward to your next 40-plus limitless years. Your time is now. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another episode. How is your 2024 shaping up so far? I hope you are doing so great. How is the period of time you think about? Have you started taking the decade view of more things? The time horizon you think about can massively increase your returns. Today, we're going to talk about hormesis, but both actual physical hormesis in your body and more metaphorical, or maybe a better word is psychological hormesis. Have you heard of hormesis before? It plays a big role in longevity, so you want to leverage it to stay healthy and strong for a long time to come. Hormesis is the favorable response of an organism to low doses of stress that would be harmful in larger doses. This is the old Nietzsche saying, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." I know kids these days may be shocked to find out that the phrase existed before Kelly Clarkson sang about it, but indeed it did. Stress comes from the disruption of our homeostasis. Something different is happening. In order for our stress to result in this hormesis that we want, we have to control the timing and the dose of the stressors. It's not just any stress at any intensity for any length of time. You know that I love Dave Asprey, and that's why my first coaching certification was through a program co-developed by him. And I really love his definition of hormesis, which is, what doesn't kill you or weaken you makes you stronger. There are certainly things that could almost kill you that don't make you stronger. They make you weaker. At least physically. Psychologically might be another story. Have you ever seen the YouTube video of the guy doing crazy heavy leg presses on the leg press machine at the gym and his knee hyperextends backwards? Oh my gosh, it is crazy. That didn't kill him, at least as far as I know. I mean, gosh, I hope not. But it did weaken him. Same with unfortunate people that have been starved. Not quite to death, but they're completely emaciated and frail. Or those who have been almost frozen to death, but not quite. They probably lost appendages due to frostbite and are never quite the same. Physically weaker. So we do need to get the right stress at the right dose to have it give us a favorable response. In order for our bodies to be at their healthiest, we want to protect them from everything potentially harmful and taxing, right? I think you know the answer is no. But why not? If a lot of a bad thing is really bad, why isn't a little bit of a bad thing kind of bad? Our body is crazy smart, and when it senses an incoming threat, it rapidly adjusts to protect itself from trouble and increase its chance of survival. If there's never a challenge, there's never a reason to fortify. We won't go into as much detail as we could, but let's briefly talk about 4 different physical stresses that, at the right dose, result in fantastic improvements to your health via hormesis. Number 1, the main hormetic stressor that has been shown in many thousands of studies to increase the lifespan of all creatures it's ever been studied in is, do you know? Calorie restriction. It always leads to longer life in every creature. It makes sense that in times of early starvation, your body is forced to be more efficient and to increase your odds of catching something to eat. That is why intermittent fasting can be so beneficial for your health. Your body senses the warning that there isn't any food and tells your body to be more resilient to oxidative damage, protects your brain cells, burns fat for fuel, and ultimately makes you live longer. The typical optimal fasting window is 16 to 48 hours, and there are tons of different ways to fast and reap the hormetic benefits. Dave Asprey even has a book all about how to fast called Fast This Way that you can check out for a how-to. There are also lots of things you can do to make your body think it's fasting, but you're really not. Calorie restriction improves the integrity of the gut wall, which is a very big deal. It's hard to keep your gut wall barrier strong in this world of pesticides and herbicides and toxins, including pharmaceuticals, especially NSAIDs like ibuprofen and naproxen. The coolest thing fasting does is trigger the amazingly fabulous process of autophagy, mitophagy, and mitogenesis. You want this. Autophagy means self-eating, and it's when dysfunctional cells are decommissioned and their parts recycled to make brand new, healthy cells. Mitophagy is the same, but just for mitochondria. Mitogenesis is the production of new mitochondria. Remember our favorite cellular organelles, our energy producers? Do you remember that they have their own unique DNA that comes only from your mom? That allows mitochondria to divide and multiply within cells without the cells having to multiply. This means more energy for you. Yes, please. Number 2, this is something that physically damages your body, sometimes to the point of pain afterward. You are even briefly weakened from it. Can you guess what it is? You're so smart. Yes, it's exercise. We all know that exercise does a body good and that stressing ourselves with exertion makes us stronger. Our stressed muscles are triggered to grow so that they're ready to better handle that hard thing you made them do in case you have to do it again in the future. Your body releases lots of anti-inflammatory compounds during exercise and triggers your mitochondria to multiply and buff up. Yes! High-intensity interval training is the best exercise to boost your mitochondrial resilience. This slows down aging at the subcellular level. Sweet. Number 3. I find this one extremely fascinating for some reason. I think if I were a researcher, I would want to study this. It's extreme temperatures. Both intense hot and intense cold increase oxidative stress levels in your body, which seems bad, but this causes the production of what are called heat shock proteins. Have you heard of these proteins before? From what I understand, which isn't that much, there are several different specific heat shock proteins that can be triggered in humans and other species, and that cold shock proteins are a distinct type of proteins within the heat shock protein family. I might have that wrong, but I don't think so. Heat and cold shock proteins do so many amazing things, including being chaperones for other proteins to help them get properly folded and to go where they're supposed to go. This is a big deal. In order for your body to be correctly constructed for optimal functioning, you need your proteins appropriately shaped and located. Shock proteins play a big role in the health of both your cardiovascular and immune systems. They reverse damage, protect your cells from inflammation, increase your immunity, and trigger full body repair. This slows down cellular aging. Awesome! So, how do you get some of these heat shock proteins? You guessed it, exposure to the perfectly stressful amount of heat or cold. 20 minutes or more in a sauna is fantastic. A full spectrum infrared sauna is the best, but other saunas will also produce heat shock proteins. And so does exercise that makes you sweat. All good. Then there's cold exposure. If you're into weird stuff like I am, you can go in a cryotherapy chamber that's negative 250 degrees Fahrenheit for a few minutes. It's super fun. The guy at the place I went even took the temperature of my calf before and after. It went from 97 to 79, which he said indicated a good session. The list of benefits of properly done cryotherapy is really long as the cold session isn't very long. There are also ice baths if you're hardcore and cold showers if you're a little less diehard. When I was doing my first coach training a couple of years ago, we had a live Zoom call with Dave Asprey, and one of the things he challenged us all to do was at the end of every shower to turn the water all the way to cold and let it hit you in the neck and chest for 8 seconds. Then after a few days of 8 seconds, increase slowly, eventually building up to 30 seconds at the end of every shower. I had previously heard of a guy who taught his little 5-year-old son to want to do this. He wasn't torturing this little boy. The boy wanted to do it, but he taught him to chant, "It's so good," as soon as he turned it to cold. So I figured if a 5-year-old could do that, I could do that. And that's how I started to do this at the end of every shower. It's been a couple of years and I still do it every day. I do it for 30 seconds now, still just at the end of my warm shower. But I have changed my mental chant, if I do it at all, to the official battle cry of hormesis. Only the strong survive. I honestly say that. I honestly enjoy it, and I feel like it genuinely makes a difference in my physical and mental health. Like with all these hormetic stressors, there's a pleasant sense of self-mastery you get from choosing to suffer on purpose. There's also evidence that hot-cold combination is better than either alone. So when you're ready, go from a hot sauna directly to a cold shower, and you'll instantly become superhuman. Guess those crazy Scandinavians and polar bear plunge people were right all along. Of course they were. Number 4, there are other physical hormetic stressors, but the last one we'll talk about today is something we've talked about in the past. It's something that increases athletic performance, but also upgrades your mitochondria, brain power, and lung strength. Can you guess what it is? Yes, it's hypoxia or oxygen deprivation. High altitude training increases your endurance, but also your ability to think faster, work smarter, because hypoxia in the brain stimulates more mitochondria to be made inside of your neurons. More mitochondria inside of your neurons literally creates more brain power. Clearly, it's critically important that hypoxia be done in the correct doses, but when it is, the brief increase in oxidative stress from low oxygen makes your body produce more natural antioxidants for a long time because it stimulates heat shock proteins. Pretty cool. Check out Wim Hof or Patrick McKeown for more info. I'm reading another one of Patrick McKeown's books right now, so I hope to learn more about how to train with hypoxia using a pulse oximeter, and I'll let you know how it goes. Dr. David Sinclair, an expert in the field of anti-aging, says that, quote, "Our bodies were designed to respond to adversity, and we've removed it from our lives because that feels good. But we need adversity to be resilient and fight disease," end quote. I think that's a perfect summation. It reminds me of the movie WALL-E. It seems like endlessly floating around in a soft chair drinking a delicious smoothie would be as good as it gets, but it's not what we were built to do. It's against our very nature. Just because we now have the option of avoiding hard things doesn't mean that we should. In fact, we cannot thrive if we do. Do you want to remove adversity from your life? Before you answer that, here's the real question. Do you want to remove your ability to thrive? Like our other hormetic stressors, general life adversity, in the right doses and under the right conditions, helps us to thrive. Okay, but so what if we have no control over the type or dose of stress that gets thrown at us? Here's the beauty, my friend. In her awesome book, The Upside of Stress, Dr. Kelly McGonigal says, quote, "The latest science reveals that stress can make you smarter, stronger, and more successful. It helps you learn and grow. It can even inspire courage and compassion. The new science also shows that changing your mind about stress can make you healthier and happier. How you think about stress affects everything from your cardiovascular health to your ability to find meaning in life. The best way to manage stress isn't to reduce or avoid it, but rather to rethink and even embrace it. So my goal as a health psychologist has changed. I no longer want to help you get rid of your stress. I want to make you better at stress." End quote. So good, don't you think? If we want our life's stress to be hormetic for us, we don't have to control the whole world and everyone in it such that we have the perfect experience of the correct amount of the right kind of stress to help us grow. Whew. Thank goodness, because controlling everything outside of us sounds exhausting and, well, stressful. What did she say matters? How you think about stress is what affects your physical and mental health, and how you think about something is 100% within your control. If you never want to have any stress, all you have to do is never care about anything. Rather than a sign that your life has gone wrong, stress is a sign that something you care about is at stake, which is a barometer for how engaged you are in pursuits that are important to you. That's a good thing. If you want a meaningful life, you need to welcome some stress. I know I've heard 100 times that we evolved to have a stress response so that we can run away from saber-toothed tigers, but that in our modern world, our bodies think we're running away from saber-toothed tigers every time the phone rings, we get cut off in traffic, a work deadline is approaching, or our mascara clumps together. Turns out, not necessarily. While some people do have a threat response to stress, some people have a challenge response. The people who see stress as an opportunity to show up and step up are the ones who thrive in life. They frequently live in flow, which is a highly enjoyable state. Many people think high-performing artists, athletes, surgeons, video gamers, and musicians are immune to stress. The truth is, they're not. They just have a different response to stress. The way they respond to stress gives them access to their mental and physical resources, and the result is increased confidence, concentration, and ability to perform. So, rising to the challenge of everyday stressors is the secret sauce. Maybe even engineering some stress into your life on purpose is for you. David Goggins, the insanely cool Navy SEAL who wrote the book Can't Hurt Me, says, quote, "It's a lot more than mind over matter. It takes relentless self-discipline to schedule suffering into your day every day. But if you do, you'll find at the other end of that suffering is a whole other life just waiting for you." End quote. Scheduling suffering into your day reminds me a little bit of the idea from the book The Power of Habit of purposefully scheduling daily drudgery into your day. Neuroscientist and medical doctor Tara Swart says, quote, "Every time you endure adversity, you build your resilience to further adversity. You build your own idea that you have the tools within you to come out better, stronger, and learn something. It's literally about building a pathway in your brain that helps you to reframe the way that you view enduring adversity." End quote. As you consider stressing yourself on purpose, remember to stay in the hormetic zone. Disrupt your homeostasis and require an appropriate response from yourself. But hormesis is about what doesn't kill you or weaken you, makes you stronger. Too much fasting makes you weak. Too much exercise makes you an injury waiting to happen. Too much heat or cold damages your body, and too much hypoxia makes you brain injured or dead. A big part of benefiting from stress is to prioritize recovery. Eat and sleep and rest comfortably. Too much stress really is bad for you, so stress management techniques are not total garbage. Get better at stress by seeing it as a challenge, but don't overload yourself with too many challenges either. Appropriately stressing yourself on purpose with calorie restriction, high-intensity exercise, heat, cold, or oxygen restriction gives your body an opportunity to rise to the challenge and get stronger and live longer. When the going gets tough, only the strong survive. You don't want weakling cells, malfunctioning mitochondria, or misfolded proteins messing up your cellular functioning. Go Attila the Hun on any malfunctions and put autophagy and heat shock proteins to work for you. You can also choose how daily life stress affects you, changing the way you view psychological stress from as a threat to as a challenge allows you more access to your mental and physical resources and results in more confidence and better performance. Remember, when you use your life's stress as a hormetic stress by choosing how you view it, and you choose to schedule suffering into your day, you'll find at the other end of that suffering is a whole other life just waiting for you. So exciting. Next week, we're going to talk about 8 ways to get older faster. Until then, strategically put some stress in your life on purpose and don't be normal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Health Courage Collective podcast. I am truly honored that you have paid me the enormous compliment of your time and attention. I would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with someone you know and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This podcast is for entertainment and information purposes only. Statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Christina Hackett and producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse events by use of information contained herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.